I want you to notice something the next time you feel that familiar tightening in your chest. Your partner just forgot something. Maybe it's the bill again. Maybe it's picking up the kids 15 minutes late. Maybe it's just forgetting that you had the kind of week that breaks people. And watch what happens next. Not to them, to you. You don't say anything. Your jaw sets, your mind starts moving before you've even decided to move it. You're already calculating the late fee, already rearranging your afternoon, already rehearsing the sentence, "It's fine, I've got it." And you say it, and you mean it, because you always have it. You've been called the strong one, the reliable one, the one who holds it all together. Your friends say it like a compliment. Your partner says it with visible relief. For years, you've worn that label like a badge. I need to tell you something today that might be uncomfortable. That badge isn't proof of your strength. It might be the symptom of a quiet, invisible form of control. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why being the good partner can be one of the most exhausting power struggles a relationship can hide. One where you hold all the power and pay all the price. To understand what's actually happening, we need to look at a concept from family system psychology called overfunctioning and underfunctioning. This is not a personality flaw. It is a mechanical dynamic. In any close relationship, when one person consistently does more planning, more emotional labor, more damage control, the other person, often without meaning to, starts doing less. Not because they're lazy, because the system stops requiring them to grow. Somewhere along the way, without a single conversation about it, you built a relationship where competence only flows in one direction. And the less your partner has to carry, the less capable they become of carrying it. Here's the part that stings. Underneath the exhaustion, there's a need you have never said out loud. Overfunctioning was never really about your partner's shortcomings. It's about your relationship with uncertainty. If you are always managing, always anticipating, always one step ahead of the next crisis, you never have to sit in the terrifying feeling of not being in control. You are not just being helpful, you are trying to make the world predictable, one fixed problem at a time. Every solved crisis is a hit of relief. And like any hit, it needs to be chased again tomorrow. Psychologists describe this using something called the Karpman Drama Triangle, a model built around 3 roles people fall into during conflict: the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer. Most people assume the rescuer is the healthy one, the good one, the one doing everything right, but the rescuer role has a hidden price tag. Every time you step in to rescue, you are quietly communicating something to the other person. I don't trust you to handle this yourself. Say that enough times, for long enough, and it stops being an accident. It becomes a belief. Not, I chose not to grow, but I can't. So ask yourself something honest. When your partner fumbles, what do you actually feel? Frustration, sure, but underneath that, is there a flicker of something else? A strange, uncomfortable relief? Because their fumble confirms your role. It proves you're needed. It proves the whole structure still depends on you. That feeling is real for almost everyone in this pattern. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to look at directly, because it's the key to the entire dynamic. This pattern rarely starts in the relationship you're in now. It usually starts decades earlier. If you grew up in a household where love felt conditional on being useful, where being good meant being helpful, quiet, low maintenance, you learned early that your value was tied to your output. Attachment researchers call this anxious-preoccupied attachment, and one of its lesser-known features is something called compulsive caregiving. You didn't learn how to ask for support. You learned how to provide it, because providing it felt safer than needing it ever could. Here's the trap. Compulsive caregiving looks selfless from the outside, but structurally, it functions as control. Think about a plant you water every single day without fail. It never has to grow roots deep enough to find its own water, because you're always there first. It looks thriving on the surface, but its root system stays shallow forever, entirely dependent on you showing up. And quietly, without meaning to, you start resenting the plant for having roots that never had the chance to grow. Now let's talk about what this actually costs you, because the cost is not small, and it compounds every single month you carry it. Chronic overfunctioning produces something researchers call caregiver burnout, and this isn't limited to nurses or parents. It happens inside romantic relationships just as brutally. Your nervous system does not distinguish between managing a crisis at work and managing a crisis at home. If you are always the one absorbing the shock, your body stays locked in a low-grade state of vigilance, day after day, year after year. Over time, this doesn't just make you tired. It reshapes how safe your own home actually feels to you. You built this role to create safety, and the role itself slowly became the thing keeping you unsafe. And here's the part almost nobody in this pattern expects to hear. Overfunctioning is rarely sustainable without resentment. Even the kindest, most loving overfunctioner eventually feels something darker underneath all that competence. A quiet superiority, a silent, I do everything and you do nothing. That feeling doesn't come from malice. It comes from an unbalanced system, plain and simple. But left unaddressed, it slowly poisons intimacy. Because you cannot feel truly close to someone you've started, even unconsciously, to see as less capable than yourself. So what do you actually do with all of this? Not tomorrow, starting today. First, practice what therapists call strategic incompetence. On purpose, without apology. The next time something needs handling that isn't life or death, don't handle it. Let the bill sit for one more day while your partner remembers it. Let the plan stay a little disorganized. This is not punishment. It's giving the relationship room to rebalance. The discomfort you'll feel is not a red flag. It's the exact sensation of a system recalibrating itself for the first time in years. Second, replace fixing with naming. The instant you feel the urge to jump in and solve something for your partner, pause and say it out loud. I notice I want to take this over. I'm going to let you handle it instead. This does two things at once. It interrupts your automatic pattern, and it gives your partner clear information instead of quiet, simmering resentment. Silent overfunctioning teaches nothing. Named overfunctioning becomes an actual conversation. Third, get comfortable stating a need instead of performing a solution. When you're overwhelmed, your instinct is to work harder and say nothing. Instead, try one sentence. I need help with this, and I'm not going to solve it alone this time. One honest sentence does more for long-term intimacy than 100 silent nights of holding everything together alone, because it finally gives your partner permission to show up as an equal, not a dependent. Fourth, sit with the discomfort of being needed less. If your entire identity has been built around being indispensable, a more balanced relationship will initially feel like a loss, even though it is, in every real sense, a gain. That unfamiliar quiet, where your partner solves something without you, is not evidence that you don't matter anymore. It's evidence that the relationship is finally strong enough to hold two capable adults, instead of one manager and one dependent. This isn't about becoming careless. It isn't about swinging to the opposite extreme and doing nothing. It's about recognizing that a relationship built on your permanent overfunctioning was never actually equal, no matter how loving it looked from the outside. Real partnership requires two people who are allowed to struggle, fumble, and grow, not one person who never gets tired and one person who never gets the chance to try. So the next time someone calls you the strong one, the reliable one, the one who holds it all together, I want you to feel something other than pride. I want you to feel a quiet, honest question rise up instead. Am I holding this together because I trust my partner, or because I've never once let them prove that they could? Real love was never measured by how much you carry alone. It's measured by how much you're finally willing to put down. If you recognized yourself in this pattern, and you're wondering whether it's coming from anxious attachment or something underneath it you've never fully named, like a fear of abandonment wearing a competence mask, click the video right here. I break down the 4 attachment wounds that quietly drive overfunctioning and how to start healing the one underneath yours. I'll see you over there.